Hey everybody, and welcome to Keyboard Skills Pro, my YouTube channel. My name is Tom and welcome to a little walking bass exercise today. And we're going to take a little look in this video at how to split our hands up. In other words, playing split keys with a bass in the left hand and a piano sound on the right hand. Now this is great if you want to make yourself a little bit more marketable, maybe when you're perhaps going out playing gigs, things like that. And it's a really cool skill to be able to divide the hands almost like into two musicians. But if you want to play some nice jazz or some nice, laid-back standards and things, it's really important to know how to play this kind of split walking bass with your left hand and doing the melody and the chords with the right hand. Well, in this exercise, we're going to take a little look at basically how walking bass would work and how we might play some chords on the right hand. Say, for example, in a setting where we might be playing maybe in a duo or a trio, where we've got a friend on a saxophone or a trumpet, and we are providing perhaps the rhythm on our digital keyboard or piano, and we are also providing the chords with our right hand. Okay, so we've got rhythm, bass, and piano. So let's take a look first of all at walking bass exercise number one. Now, first of all, what is walking bass? Well, walking bass, as the name suggests, is where the bass generally walks on every beat of the bar, and in most songs it's 4/4, and we're playing away like that, and you've heard that 101 times in jazz recordings. Something a bit like that. And it sounds really cool, doesn't it? So walking bass is just that. It's walking up and down, walking to the next chord, the next harmony. So if you want to learn how to do this, I have provided for this particular video a walking bass exercise PDF sheet, which you can get that by signing up and supporting my YouTube channel on patron.com. So you need to head to patron.com/Keyboard Skills Pro and sign up for silver level or above, and that gets you access to this PDF, all the others for all the other lessons, and also lots of bonus videos as well, plus you're also supporting the channel. So let's take a look at exercise number one then. Now exercise number one is very simple. We're going to start on a C down here, and we're going to put our thumb on the G, and we're basically going to walk up and down in fours. So that could be an example of a walking bass. Let's pop a C chord at the beginning, and then G. So we're making sure we tap, tap, tap right on the beat there. You hear how that's going? Okay, C chord, G. Okay, and that's an example of a walking bass pattern. So that's called a scale pattern because it's going up and down like a scale, going up and down in steps, look. So that could be our first pattern right there, okay. Now we are in a little while going to actually look at some real musical examples. So, but that's exercise number one. Now exercise number two is the walking bass coming down. And again, look, a scale. So again, let's do some chords on those. G. So when you think about walking bass, a lot of people tend to think of it as being that kind of pattern. But the thing is, it's not always long scales. As we know in songs, real pieces of music, chords normally change every bar or two to every bar. So here's a musical example on the screen. And this is a little excerpt from the PDF, which again you can get by signing up and supporting us at patron.com. /Keyboard Skills Pro, and here's the first four bars of that popular jazz number, Satin Doll. So first of all, let's just play through the first four bars. Okay, And thank you, Mr. Drummer. So let's take a look at how that worked. So you can see here that what we've got to do, we have to think about where is the bass needing to go? Where does it need to end up? Well, often it needs to end up on the tonic note of each chord. So if you're playing D minor, we need a D. If you're playing G7 or G chord, you need a G, etc. So when I did my my walking bass there, instead of going up through the scale of D minor, because how many beats have we got? We've got 2 beats, haven't we? So we've only got 2 bass notes to fit in. So if I went through the D minor scale, I've then got to jump to G, look. And that works. Let's give that a go then. So here's a D minor 7 chord. We're going to play in this inversion right here. But you can see the problem is there isn't an E in D minor 7. There's a D, but there's not an E, because we're playing D minor 7, not D minor 9. So in the example on the screen, I've jumped from the first note of D minor to the 3rd note. And that does 2 things. One, it blends better, look, because we're playing 2 notes from the chord as the bass player. And then I can step up to G for my G7, look. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play another G on the 4th beat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And that sounds really good. Now, something I want you to remember, folks, is I want you to experiment with walking bass patterns. Once I've shown you these hints and tips, always experiment and try different things. But, you know, it's all about when somebody shows you something, try and make it your own. Try and do some different ideas. But experiment. Always experiment. So there we go. Look, so we've gone D to F. That's a good step. There's a good jump, rather. And then onto the G7, look, for 3 and 4. And then the next 2 bars is a repeat, so we use the same pattern, look. Okay, so now I've got to go to E minor, so I'm going to use the same pattern, hop up to G. Why? Because there's an E and a G in my chord, so the bass is going to blend really well. And then we've got A dominant 7, so again we'll play the 2 A's, look, and look, again, look, I've stepped up, back down, and that is walking bass. Very simple, but it is walking bass. So hop, repeat the note. It doesn't always have to go in scales. You can go broken chord patterns, hops. We'll talk about some different jumps in a second. But there we go, look. D, F, G, G. Let's try it with the rhythm. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's sounding fantastic, isn't it? So let's now take a look at the next line of Satin Doll, which is a D7. So in this example, I'm going to use the fifths and the first and the fifth. So I'm going to go D and then 2 beats on A. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, because again, people think this walking bass thing has got to always be walking. It can jump around just as much as walk. So I'll do my fifths, look, like that. And then I've got D flat 7, so I'll just lower my flats, and then C chord. Okay, now in the PDF example, you'll notice there is a walking bass now, a real walking bass pattern. And it's a mix of broken chords, chromatics, and scales. So let's show you how this all mixes together. So there's a very famous thing in Satin Doll. Da ba bum, da 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 dum. And then it repeats. So that's a bass solo. So let's show you how to play that. So we finished on C with the C chord. And then I'm going to use a broken chord, okay, to go through the 1, the 3 and the 5 of the C chord. I'm then going to need to get to this A key, because A is going to walk me back to D minor. So I need to go A to D, okay. So I need to go broken chord of C, C sharp, because I've got to get to A and I don't have any more notes. So I'm going to step up via the sharp, the half step, and use that. If you're running out of notes, just put a half step in. And and then A walks down to... See, it was walking to where it's going to. Remember that, always got to think about where you're going. So let's play the whole of Satin Doll through the first 8 bars very slowly. Here we go, 2, 3, 4. So there's our D minor and our G7. Now we use the same pattern on the E minor and the A minor. This 1 to 3, and then the tonic A, fifths, 2 each, flats, and punch. Broken chord, half, walk down the scale, etc. So really great sound there. So you can see that there's a mixture of simple sort of parts of broken chords, repeating notes, perfect fifths, the tonics and dominants, broken chords, half steps, and scales. Now, I'm always a great believer in that when someone teaches you something, you should mess around with it. Always experiment, try and make it your own. Don't just play what the music says. Question it, change it, adapt it. That's what being a musician is all about, is having fun, making music your own. So at the beginning, we're going D minor with the D and the F, and then G7. Look. But how about if I, instead of playing 2 Gs, I went backwards back to my F, because then I could hop down to D again, couldn't I? And that, look at what's going to happen. Look, F, where do we need to go? E minor. Haha, next door. Same pattern, look. Okay, so what about though if we maybe kept the first bar and then on the second bar did the walk down to E. Same here, look. So I need to get to D, so I'm going to put an E in, and then I can walk to D like that, you see. So I can do a little jump and then a step down. On the D7 I could do a broken chord, look. 1, 3, 5, 3, and then 1, 3, 5, 3. There you go, and you can hear it's walking all the time. Okay, with some extra snazzy bits in there, but still you can see there's a lot of fun to be had. Now, for those of you who have got the PDF, don't forget folks, patron.com, let's take a look at Fly Me to the Moon. Now, Fly Me to the Moon is A minor, D minor 7, G7, C major 7. So in this example, I'm going to start on A, and of course A to D, of course, let's not forget the circle of fifths comes in here. It's going A, D, G, C. So it's going through a circle of fifths. So, and that's brilliant because we need 4 beats in the bar, and then the change happens on the 5th beat. In other words, the 5th note, which is of course the first beat of the next bar. So this is really set up brilliantly to play walking bass in Fly Me to the Moon. So I could go A, and I've got to get to D. So I need 4 beats. So perfect. Fly me to the moon. Now, I've now got to get from D to G. Now, I can either go, if I go down to G, it's not a problem, because if you go down, there's always enough. If you go up, there's not enough. Do you see how I got there early? Look. See, I got to the G too early. So again, if I'm coming up, look, I've got 4s. So if I go via F sharp to G, I can use that black note as the 4th stepping stone. There There you go, look, G. And now I need to get to C. So I've got to make a decision here. Do I go down or do I go up? If I go up, I need to put my extra black note in to get to C. Let's see what we think. Now musically, coming down there, I get some lovely sort of thirds or tenths. But the problem is, they're both going the same way. So in music, it's nice if things go opposite to each other. That's called contrary motion. So when we start, look, everything's going in the same direction. But then the third bar, if I do this, look, they're going towards each other. That makes a nicer sound. So I've got a whole bar of C chord now. So what do I do here? Well, I'm just going to use an arpeggio, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple. What about a little pattern on the first beat? Dotted quaver, semi-quaver. Dum ba 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 bum. Do 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 do. Okay. F major 7, that's the next line. So let's put some fifths in. D minor 7, let's go A to D to F, and then let's use the E major scale for the E7 to B. Okay, so let's see how that sounds like. I think that sounds absolutely brilliant. Of course, you can try this on your keyboard, you can try this on your digital piano. Most digital pianos and keyboards now, you can split them, the Yamahas, the Rolands, you can split the keyboards very, very easily. Put a bass on the left hand, an upright bass or an acoustic bass, as is known. You could try like a fretless bass and some little sort of Tyne sort of Fender Rhodes kind of sound on the other hand. You can use a lot of modern pianos and keyboards. When you use the pedal, see how the bass is not sustaining, but the pedal is working on the thing, the piano. So the pedal, look, is not, doesn't do anything to the bass sound. So once you have the basics of playing bass, it really is just simply a case of experimenting with it. But let's take another song. What could we do? Let's do a jazz song, All of Me. So I'm always walking low. Bit of fun there with All of Me. But it's always about thinking about where you're going to. It's like chess. You have to think a couple of moves ahead, or about 20 moves in the case of a grandmaster. But always about looking ahead, where you're going to, walking the bass either with a jump, a scale, a half step, and you can work some of it out in advance if you want, but don't forget, spontaneity is one of the great things in music, and it takes a little time to get used to playing the two hands separately, because you literally have to think like a bass player and a pianist at the same time. But anyway, have fun, folks. That was requested by one of our viewers, so thanks ever so much for that. But like I say, if you want to get that PDF and see those examples that we've been talking about in the video, it's patreon.com/Keyboard Skills Pro, and all of the folks on there who support the channel with a monthly pledge. It really is tremendously wonderful of you. And indeed to everybody who watches the channel. But please do hit the subscribe button, everybody. Ding the bell, and don't forget we've got things going on 2 or 3 times a week here on the channel with 2-minute tips, live stream Wednesdays, and also Fridays music lessons or performance videos. So thanks ever so much, folks. Do share the video around and put any questions or comments below, and we will see you very soon here on Keyboard Skills Pro for another fun music lesson. But in the meantime, enjoy learning about walking bass. Give it a go, see how you get on. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.